Hey, it's Allie Edwards and welcome back to December Daily for 2022. This video is for story 23, and what I am doing straight off is I am working on the back of our Christmas card, and I'm cutting a photo to size. This is actually a photo of our stockings. My plan for this one is that I want to make this into a pocket so that I could slip a tag with a little story down inside here. This is going to be a page on its own as story 22, and I'm thinking that I want to use my stockings here as the beginning of story 24. So 24, 25, kind of doing those all together in a couple pages. You can see I kind of have an idea that I'm considering right there now. But for this one, what I'm looking at doing, like I said, is creating a pocket so that I can put a tag down inside there. So that's what I'm going to be doing in this particular video. So this is also the point in the process where I'm looking at the other things I have here right now. It's still in my stash and saying, are there some things that I really want to include in this particular project this year? Things that I want to just save for next year in my stash? Just kind of thinking about those kinds of things a little bit as I embark on this particular story. So I think for this one, in order to create a pocket, I'm just going to use red line tape because that is an easy way to create a pocket. So I'm going to line 3 edges of the back of my photo or my Christmas card here with the red line tape right along the edge just to create a pocket. And it doesn't have to be very precise because in this case I'm just adding in probably just a journaling card is most likely what I'm going to do here. One of the things I love about this idea too is that you're bringing in something, that is a very real object, right? Such as your Christmas card. And so being able to use that then to create a home for another story, that's something that I really love. So that opportunity to bring that kind of stuff in. It was fun to pair it with a stocking photo. This was as far as we got with our stocking. Sometimes when Christmas morning rolls around, we do different things. This year we just laid them on. They were all laid on top of the ottoman there in our living room. And so fun little photo to include also that has all of our names on that, or all of our names are on the stockings. And then we have a couple little name tags that we add on for our special other people that are here joining us. Also using the corner rounder there to round the edges, something that I like to do from time to time depending on what the project is. I'm going to go ahead and round the corners also on my journaling, as you'll see in a minute here. I did decide to add an embellishment directly onto the photo, but in the end, I kind of wish that I wouldn't have added that on, and you'll see why in a minute here once it gets to the point where you can see what I end up doing on the top of the tag. So I went to the 3x8 journal card and transparency set to see if there was a journal card that I wanted to use that I could cut down to fit inside of this particular pocket that I'm making here, and I found the one that says enjoy these moments. That's a checklist, and this ended up being a fantastic jumping off point for the story that I decided to tell here, which is one about kind of reflecting back on the things that we didn't do this year and how that was a little bit different. And I really love how that becomes the jumping off point for the rest of the story that I'm going to tell you about here in just a second. Okay, so I've been thinking a lot about some various stories that I have wanted to tell over the last couple of days, and also over just the season, thinking about how we experienced our December season in our own house and the things that we did different from past years. I always think that that is a fun entry point to a story, is to examine, what was different than past years and a little bit of what was the same too. A lot of times we can see what was the same and we can see what was different just from a visual standpoint from your photos, but actually taking the time to write down some of the things was really something that I wanted to do. And when I came across this 3x8 card that was in that 3x8 journal card and transparency set, what was the most interesting to me was that I checked 4 things off. So there have been some years in our life where I probably almost checked everything off. But our, times are changing, seasons are changing for our family, and so things have started to look a little bit different. And that's part of what I am writing about in my journaling, was what were the things that were different. There's a lot of things on here that we used to do that we don't do anymore, and nobody seems to miss the things that we haven't been doing, or the things that we didn't do this year. And so I kind of love that. And that's why I'm going to put this in here just like that. So I've got the side where I checked the boxes, and then I have my journaling right here for the back. So that's going to be added on here, and then I will tuck it inside of the pocket that I made with the photo and the Christmas card there. I love this. I think this is great because I really had things that I wanted to say here, and this was a perfect place to actually end up making that happen. I was kind of thinking about doing it, on Christmas Day or after Christmas Day, but this, as I'm putting my album together, this feels like it really makes sense. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to use the stockings as Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and I think I'm going to do a variety of photos that can fit into the stockings themselves, and then probably end this with a large full page photo or 2 of those back to back is kind of what I'm thinking right now. All right, so continuing right along with the process here, I did that same little trick where I cut 3 sides of something when I know that the width and height, they're probably going to be about the same, and then I can cut off the other edge after I've adhered it down. So I've adhered the journaling page, the page full of journaling, to the 3x8, the original 3x8, and then I'm just going ahead and trimming that down a little bit. You can obviously make this any size you want. I'm sticking closer with the text size that was on that 3x8. I think it ended up being about 8 1/4 by 3, maybe. I'm not sure. Actually, that can't be right. 2.75 by 6.5 might be what that tag is. But what I would do if I was you is I would just, if you want to do something similar, measure first in terms of the actual size of your tag and figuring out how much you want to write to. All right, so then the next thing was I did punch a hole in that after I had it together to create this tag itself. And then I had these cute little Santas that were included with the die cut pack, and then one of the stars there, one of the plastic stars. You can see how what I'm wanting to do is just hang these on there, and that the Merry and Bright just didn't necessarily need to be on there. It's kind of cute when it's on there when you've taken the journaling out of the pocket. So that ended up being fine. I mean, in a different world, I would have done something a little bit different, but I think it's cute to have it on there too once you pull the tag out. Grabbed a little bit more of that ribbon that I got from one of my friends here on a package, and then I'm gonna go ahead and staple the ribbon like I normally do. But before I do that, I'm just tying a little knot in the twine that I'm using here with my little collection of embellishments that will be a little bit of a hang tag there that can hang over the top. As I was thinking about what numbers I would want to use for this story number, I grabbed some metal tags from Tim Holtz. I think I used one of these earlier this year as well. I've used them throughout the years in little bits and little places, and then I like to go through and put them all back in there, and then I will pull them out next year and probably use a couple again next year as well. So just running the twine through the hole of that metal number. Again, lots of times people don't care about necessarily having the numbers. I just like them as an additional embellishment and as a way to keep track of the stories that I'm telling just simply by numbering them. That's kind of become a fun piece of the process. When I originally started doing it, it was definitely more like day 1, day 2, and it, you know, sometimes it goes back and forth between that as well. I'm not really super hooked up or super worried about that or, you know, extra focused on it. But here I am going ahead and using the tiny attacher to staple that ribbon in the top. I did trim down the little twine pieces just a little bit, or I will do that here in just a second. There you go. But I kept a little bit of that visible, and then I just cleaned up the ribbon on the top there a little bit. I think it's super cute. I really like having that long journaling on a tag that can just simply be pulled out of that combination of the photo and our Christmas card on the other side. As always, if you guys have questions, let me know in the comments below, and I'll be back here soon with story 24 and 25.